What's going on, folks? Appreciate that Neo Lover 23, my man. As usual, coming through with the super chat. Appreciate you a lot. So, if you don't know, we're checking out these bass filters today. We're using the Future Impact. I will go through some of the Future Impact filters as well. But right now we're checking, we just heard the C4 synth. We're going to check out the MXR bass synth on this, pretty much this oscillator. That's what it sounds like by itself. And that's oscillator, a couple oscillators coming from the Future Impact. So that's a little bit of the MXR bass synth filter. Let's bring in this POG3, which has an amazing filter on it as well. And again, we're working with this oscillator by itself. Right? So that's what we're working with. Here we go. Alright, so that was the POG3. Now we're going to check out the Enzo X. Nice filter on that. All right. Now let's find a nice bass patch on the Future Impact. Number 10. Sorry about that. That's how you know this live. We in there. All right, we're gonna go with this patch for the Future Impact. Make sure you hit that like button. I appreciate all y'all hanging out, chilling with me. So basically, the first part of that, first of all, how y'all doing today? Appreciate the sub. What is that? B Bells. Appreciate that. Appreciate that a lot. So what we kind of going through here is how different filters can affect the same oscillator. So let's go back to the original preset I had up here, which is number 50, which is literally just a couple oscillators. So you got that type of sound going on. Even these out a little bit. There we go. Right? So not the greatest sound by itself, right? And I'll give you a couple examples of that. Right, that's just a couple oscillators. Same thing. Hold on, I think that I might have changed that. Make sure these are at the right thing. So yeah, let's go back to 50. Really nice subby type oscillator sound. So in order to really make that into something usable as a bass synth, right, we got to run it through some filters. Right? this volume up here. Which, as you can see, makes a huge difference. Just using different filter types. Must have a little too much volume there. Bring this up. So you get the point there. But as you can see, you have different sounds there. And let me see what we got here. Hey man, you know, hey, I don't know, man. I'm already working on my courses, man. I wouldn't mind working with them in some capacity, but for them to own it, and you know, it's kind of out there for me, you know. But we'd love to collaborate at some point, you know. But back to what we're doing. So I have all these set up for that. So without the oscillator, let's see what some of these sound like with just a normal bass sound. So as you can see, a lot of times the synth filters, for when you put them on bass, we end up having to do something like add some distortion or something to that effect to give us a little more, you know, harmonic content in there. Because otherwise, a filter like that, you barely even hear it. You can hear it sweeping. It just needs, let me see, give me some. And all I did there was just add some distortion, and that you can hear the filter a lot more there. As you can see, the oscillators have a lot more of a buzz to them than your normal bass sound does. So let's get a pleasant bass sound here. Same thing here. So as you can hear, the filters actually are quite not as well. I would say they're not as aggressive as like your typical bass filter, you know, your typical bass envelope filter. But when you're running an oscillator through these type of things, it's a different story. Very subtle. That one is a little bit more obvious, but you know, typically you throw on some overdrive or distortion. definitely light that same filter up a lot more. Still not your typical. So you can hear it triggering there. Let me see if I have something for the filter. Yep, there we go. And that's the future impact. But that particular setup setting is more for my electric bass. You didn't even know the future impact can get you in there. Yeah. Future impact is not in these other synth pedals, as I say all the time. They are not one-trick ponies. You know, before, a lot of the synth pedals were like one-trick ponies where you really couldn't do much else with them. But now the synth pedals are set up to where they have great just effects in general. All of these are capable of great envelope filters for your bass and different things like that. So, you know, that's not even an issue. And just quick tip for the POG3 users. When I first got it, I was like, why didn't they include I would have rather had an ability to keep my dry signal and the filter at the same time. So the only way I found to do that, just a real quick tip. So I'm gonna turn that on, turn on this, and then I'm going to, I'm going to expressions here, change this to warp. Warp mode. So if they could definitely add that, I know they do have the direct out. Let me see. Let me make sure. I can get it on this signal. But that's not necessarily the sound I want for that. So, you know, that's the only way. I wish they would do a firmware update with this. The next one, make sure we can have our dry signal, our actual dry signal going through the left and right as well. Not just the direct out. That's a whole different out we'd have to, or input we would need for that. So, you know, hopefully that's something they can work with us on. But yeah, other than that, you can just use the filter by using the dry and hitting this dry button here, and then it'll route it to the filter. See, it's just not there. There's a difference between the oscillator sound and your bass sound. So overall, you're going to need to adjust for that. All right, so now that we got that out the way, let's get back to the bass sound. So, as you can see, the filters are much more, I guess you need much less resonance to get the filters to really cut through in terms of than you would with just your regular bass sound. So, like most of those resonance settings aren't that high. And even with the MXR bass synth, we're going to start going through these individually a little bit. I guess we can start there. So right now, again, that's the oscillator. Matter of fact, let's go with this slightly more aggressive one. Right? Ooh, that's loud. Let me bring that there. Down to 37. And the reason I'm using the future impacts, well, I mean, you can, the absolute lowest note is all these pedals track all the way down to your low B, all of them, absolutely every pedal that you see. So, but you don't want to play, that's not how you use a synth pedal. That's setting yourself up for failure with that. And so, you know, oscillators by themselves don't sound great, but then you start adding that filter. Now you got some movement. Now you got lots of movement. So in order to set something like this up on the MXR bass synth, I pretty much turned off the internal oscillators. And for me, these oscillators sound a lot fatter. I can give you a quick example of that. Same setting, just with the internal oscillators. We'll have to bring this volume down. Same filter setting. Volume discrepancies, guys. Oh, it wasn't here. It's here. Turn it up. Same filter, sounds a lot fatter that way, you know. So the main thing you would want to do is once you get rid of the oscillators, you want to get rid of that modulation as well. So you can turn that off here, and if you're still hearing like movement in the filter at this point, like that's not envelope, then you just would hold this down. Make sure that the LFO is only assigned to the modulation. Turn the mod knob down. Then you want to, your envelope here, we're going to take that out for a second. We're going to open the filter all the way up, take all the resonance out, as well as we're going to turn the filter envelope amount to noon. So we're just going to hopefully have just a open sound at this point, which we do. So now we can start to shape that filter in different ways. We can have it decay. We can have it go above the cutoff point. This, bam. Let's do this. Use the envelope, start shaping it. Right, so you hear it rising. If I wanted that to fall instead of rise, hold the voice button, turn the cutoff button below noon. And now the filter opens to the cutoff point. And you can really hear that if you exaggerate the envelope, which this also affects the attack and decay time, I believe simultaneously. So you're hearing the filter drop below the frequency cutoff at this point because we have the frequency envelope amount in the negative, meaning below whatever I set this frequency to, the filter will go below that based on how much I have the filter envelope amount of the filter section dipping. So now if I wanted that to rise, I would just hold down the voice button, turn the cutoff, and this is affecting the filter envelope amount. So now I'm going to have it go above that frequency cutoff. I'm going to bring the frequency cutoff down so it has somewhere to go, but still keep that bass frequency in there. Like I said, even if I turn on the internal synth, which is a heck of a lot louder, bring that down. And that's by the way, all oscillators are not the same. Like, just because something is a synth pedal, this is why the Future Impact definitely has a higher and better sound quality. Like, do you hear the way these oscillators sound versus each other? Like these oscillators sound more toyish to me. Not bad, get you through some stuff. And get you through some nice lo-fi bass synth stuff, but preferably I like a nice fatter sound. You see what I'm saying? It's just a bigger sound. So that definitely helps, you know. But yeah, so if I wanted that envelope to be slightly different, say I want. And that's with a much quicker attack time and decay time. Gives you that real punchy boom, boom, because it's just opening super quick. But if I give it a longer attack and decay time, and we haven't even really gotten into adding the resonance yet. Yeah, the resonance, the Enzo X is a different story. You know what I'm saying? Like in terms of the oscillators, both of these have tremendous oscillators in them. Like, and that's the foundation of any synth pedal or any bass synth or any of that. So the MXR is just really easy to use. And I think the best thing about the MXR bass synth is the filter section. Like, even though I would love to be able to blend my actual dry signal, like, and that filter sound, but, and, you know, if you start cranking up this, and you can make that, you know, shape that a little bit more. There's something I really like about that filter. I don't know what it is, but yeah, it is very easy to get punchy attacks and things like that because you only got one knob. You really only have attack and decay with the filter ADSR. And to be honest, the way most bass synths are built is from just straight up for the amp envelope would be sustain, just like straight up sustain, no attack, no decay, no release. And then the filters is where you do a lot of the shaping of the actual thing, because like that is an aggressive oscillator set, you know what I'm saying? But you throwing a nice filter set, you know what I'm saying? You want that punchier sound, or if you just don't want, you just want a nice smooth sound. Yeah, you will need your headphones for this type of thing because the filters, you know, kind of quite bring that out. Now I can, just by adding resonance, you typically don't want to do too much with the resonance. Like you want to get a nice amount in there depending on what sweep you want. Nice aggressive sweep. And if I wanted like this type of something like this, I would do a negative envelope, filter envelope amount. We gotta make that a little faster. And you might not even be up that far for real. And one of the best benefits of having more than one, synth pedal is I have a ton of different synth filters because of that. And another little thing that gets overlooked with the MXR bass envelope filter is you can also, instead of that being tied to the envelope, you hear that? Like that's tied to the envelope. We're going to take the envelope out. Because I took out I have the filter envelope amount at noon. So again, the way you access that on the MXR bass synth, hold down the voice button and then you move the cutoff knob there. That's your filter envelope amount. When it's at noon, Even if I take it out the LFO, the filter, let's see what we got here. Filter doesn't really move, especially if I take the envelope out. There we go. So you can't really get rid of the MXR bass filter, but apply that to an LFO. Does this filter envelope control it? So that's where you get all the different sounds from with the MXR bass filter in general, is in the filter section. The more you mess around with that, the more, you know what I'm saying. That, I don't know. Let me test that out if the LFO resets on every note. Let me see. Nope, it doesn't reset with every note. It actually is continuous. So here, I got something metal for you. Is that good enough? All right, that's all you paid for, so that's all you're gonna get. But so people are hilarious, man. They don't even say hi. They just be like, "Yeah, do this what I want." It's hilarious. Ain't hit the like button, ain't subscribe or nothing. I ain't seen no dinosaur in the subscription, the subs or nothing. Just asking for stuff. But yeah, so a lot of the magic does happen in the filter section of any synth. So that does give you two different filter options, and you can use them simultaneously. So if I wanted to, see, it's using the LFO and the envelope at the same time, and that's nice too. So a lot of people don't know that, you know, if you have that under control with the MXR bass synth, you pretty much can create a lot of different sounds and do a lot more with it, versus if you just simply sit there and try to think it's the oscillators. The oscillators only do but so much. It's all in the filter, especially because you don't have a ADSR in the for the oscillator section in the bass synth. Oscillator is pretty much your bass signal, you know, triggering it when it stops. So All right, got the MXR bass synth in there. Let's hop over to the C4 synth. Got a 2-pole, a 4-pole, and a 6-pole filter queued up. And as you can see, I just have these triggered with envelope. It's the 2-pole. It's a 2-pole, 4-pole. Six-pole. Loud, but yeah, you get the point. The C4 synth definitely has some good filters in there. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that, man. You know, I appreciate you being one of my constant supporters, Porch Bass. You know, I see your name pop up in the comment section and in the live all the time, man. So thank you. Thank you for the support, you know. People like you gonna help me get there, you know, without the starting with what you got, you know, and who you got, you never get started. You know, if you worry about, you know, getting what you ain't got, you know, versus working what you got and appreciating what you got, the people that you have around you, the people that are supporting you, you know what I'm saying, is what I focus on, the people like yourself. So thank you a lot for the support. It means the world to me. That's why I tell y'all all the time. It means the world to me that y'all sit and, you know, spend some of your day with me. Because in reality, time is something that you can't always get back. So I hope I give enough information and knowledge to you guys that it's worth your time. So, but yeah, the C4 synth has like let me see, I think it's like 20 something filters, 26 I believe, different filters in there. So, you know, and it's got about 13 different distortions. Like even if I wanted to use the, let me see if I can, because I have this filter off here. Let me see if it allow me to like just turn it on from here. Nope, won't let me turn it on. But let me see. So just like well, yeah. I'm just gonna show you this bit crusher. I like this bit crusher on here just while we're here. Then you hit them with a little bit of this mix knob here. So you got a lot of big crusher. Just a little bit. So the C4 synth, even though it is 10 years old, you can find a bunch of them used for a decent price that's not over the top. You know, you probably can find one used for like $150, somewhere around there. And it definitely still holds up. They just did an update, firmware update with it and stuff. But it has the three, it has 4 oscillators in there. Now I will say I don't like the polyphonic mode in there at all. I don't use that at all. But the filters and the distortion and what you can do with the harmonizer stuff in there is insane. And even the combination of things you can do. I'll give you an example of the harmonizer. What else I got on? That's not right. Where's my... don't tell me I gotta put it back on here. I'm gonna have to put it back on here. I thought it was on here. Oh, these are filters. Okay, I'll have to show you guys. Well, if you've watched my previous videos, you will have heard it. But normally I use this harmonizer in here as well. It's really good. So, don't just get these pedals just for the synth. Like this thing does chorus and detune, phaser. I mean, it's got tremolo. You got that's an amazing amount of filter flexibility in there, along with the distortions, the routing capabilities with those effects. And you still got octavers and stuff in here. They're not the best, but they are usable to a certain extent. Like you can probably create I've created quite a few decent octave sounds with that, as well as a bunch of synths that sound really good, So don't sleep on the C4 synth, especially because you can get them relatively, not cheap, but at a good price. Used about 50-60% of the brand new price is what you're generally looking at for used gear. So that's definitely worth checking out too. I know everybody's excited about this because of the tracking, but to be honest, only one of these pedals that's not, the least of the tracking is the C4 synth, right? That's the least. And the Future Impact, Bass Synth, POG3, and Enzo X all track amazingly, and the Mercury X as well. They all track amazingly. So, because the Mercury X has pitch shifting and stuff in there as well. So, they all track amazing. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times it is user error or people not taking into account how you would play a bass synth in particular. So, something to look out for. But so you got a few different bass synths here. Let's go back to the oscillator sound. The only thing about the Future Impact is you will need, it will, with the C4 synth, right? Your dynamics is what triggers, is what's going to trigger it, but you can also do things like you would on a normal synth. You see how it didn't trigger each note. It just. So, taking into account things that are beneficial towards, I guess getting some pedals and synth pedals that are useful beyond just the synth is like a real bonus, because you're getting essentially a bunch of multi-effects pedals. So I don't need to really buy, as you can see, I don't have separate pedals for like chorus, phaser, flanger, filters, you know what I'm saying, or drives, things like that. I can get drives I can get drive out of all three, or what is that, five units of those. Even the Tonex ones, if I wanted to get drive out of here, I can get drive pedals on here and just store them on there as well. So these days, it isn't really a need for me in particular to buy individual drive pedals, individual, pedal. Only reason I have to have a POG3 is because I'm used to having a Hog 2. And it's certain things, I will say, this is the best octaver you pretty much can buy at the moment. You know what I'm saying? Like there's everything in here, along with multiple octaves, the ability to pan them, the ability to have filters, envelope filters, wahs out of there. Then you got high pass and band pass filters in there. You got a attack here, so you got a little bit you just got the A of the ADSR with this. And then you got the detune here, so, and the spread is like pretty much just adds a little bit of delay to the sound. So, but yeah, so things take into account what else the unit can do beyond just, can it do synth? Like all these pedals can do synth, but well, not all of them. All these synth pedals can do synth, but you want some versatility. So, while I do love the MXR bass synth for what it is, I can't use it for everything I want to do with a synth pedal, and I can't use it like a multi-effects unit, essentially. It does have a compressor in there, but I don't particularly like it. I like the filter, but it doesn't really cut too well on bass, like my raw bass sound. Now, the only thing I could use is the chorus, but the chorus isn't really that awesome either. So, I'll say yes, the Future Impact and the Enzo X cost more, but you'll get more mileage out of them overall. Not just the filters, not just the distortion. You got harmony block in here. You can use the harmony block and distortion and your dry bass sound and a synth all at once, along with 4 oscillators and all this other stuff. So I ain't gonna preach too much on versatility of these pedals. What is it, 27? There we go. You guys kind of get the point. Oh yeah, that's already in. If you go look at my shorts, just check out my shorts on my channel, and you'll see I'm already that's already done. You know what I'm saying? That's been the case. But yeah, so I put out shorts all day long. Like it's just scheduled out. So yeah, if you ever want to really keep up with stuff, or you just need some inspiration, just come to my YouTube channel and click on the shorts, and you'll see a ton of them. Or if you're not on Instagram yet, or Facebook page, or the what else we on, TikTok, at the Bassnagas, find me. But yeah, so some So having the ability to experiment with some nice oscillators, because these are really close to the vintage synth, analog synth oscillators. Having some of these to experiment with different filters is allows you to get to different sounds, because this filter in here is not a Moog style filter, and this one probably is emulated off of Moog. Same thing with this as well, and this one, the 2-pole, 4-pole probably are. It's a crazy how much a filter just like changes everything. That's what you want to avoid. See, this is where I try to tell people a lot of times is getting synth pedals to track properly really is a thing of your balance of everything. So now I gotta find that nice balance again. A lot of it's this note off. I mean note on level. I like how, like, certain filters I can actually, like the C4 Synth and Enzo X, as well as the Future Impact, I can not trigger every single note, you know, similar to when you're playing the actual synth, key bass. You don't, if the notes are kind of connected, it may, depending on the settings you have, it may not necessarily trigger the filter every single note. So you get that nice smoother. And they all work very similar. So let's go back to the POG. So these are the actual settings that I have for the resonance. This one, you know, I had to use quite a bit more resonance than I would. This and the MXR, I had to use quite a bit more resonance than I would on the Future Impact, C4 Synth, and Enzo X to get that filter, to get that nice juicy sound. On these particular units, their resonance acts similar to how it would on a vintage synth. So the more resonance you add, the less bass sound you have there to deal with. So, or the thinner it gets. That one gets quite aggressive. So it's really just a matter of you taking some time experimenting with the different filter settings. So for this, if you want to access the filter, you just hold down that dry, or you can do it through the encoder knob, but the faster way is just hold down the dry. As you can see, I got it set to the low pass filter there. Now, if I wanted more attack on that, I just increase this attack here. See how long it's taking to open the filter. I can also adjust, of course, the decay. That's not releasing at all. Make it a short decay. Short. Let me see. Can make a long attack, short decay. That's how you make like a ramp up type thing. If I want a ramp down type thing, I do the opposite. Short attack, long decay. Or just bring the attack all the way down. And if I want the filter to only move one way, that's how I would do it anyway. I would, so if I wanted the filter to only sweep down, sweep down to the cutoff point at this point, because when we talked about with the filter envelopes amounts here, typically when you put them to noon, it makes it so there is no envelope. And that works if you're going to control the frequency cutoff with your hand or with your expression pedal. But if I wanted to sweep down, I'm gonna bring that attack time all the way down, and now I only have the decay time. So now it's just sweeping down. Bring that up a bit. And if I wanted it to do the opposite, of course, bring the decay time all the way down, bring the attack time all the way up. Now I got that opening sound. And if I don't want it, if I feel like it's triggering too much, I can come down, bring the trigger sensitivity down. Now, if I wanted to trigger more, so you got options here. You can, if you go with the negative filter envelope amount, that means, like I said, it's going to sweep down from this filter cutoff. And that's the main difference with the I wish I understood between the frequency cutoff and the frequency envelope amount and the actual ADSR. Those are all three separate things that all need some attention. So, meaning, if this thing is so let's start here. Pretty much the filter cutoff, if you put the frequency envelope to new, same thing with anything, bring the resonance down. We're just going to set these attack and decay times to something a little more dramatic, just so we can hear what the filter's really doing. So I'm going to put frequency amount about there. Now, if I go all the way to the right with the filter envelope amount, now, because I have attack time and decay time, it's going to take whatever time I have it set to open the filter above this frequency cutoff. So meaning this would be the lowest part of the filter, and this knob would control how far up it sweeps. If I want it to sweep all the way up, if I want it to sweep open just a little bit, if I drop this, you can really make some dramatic sweeps. Right? So same thing, but in reverse. When you go negative, instead of this being the bottom of the filter and this being the top, this now becomes the actual top part of the filter. Like, this is the highest frequency that filter would go, and I use this to sweep down. This determines how far the filter sweeps down from this cutoff point. So one's sweeps above it. When it's positive, it sweeps above the filter cutoff, and when the frequency, the filter envelope amount is negative, it sweeps below the frequency cutoff amount. So I hope that kind of clears up that, because it's the same thing for all of these. Even on the MXR bass synth, you access the filter envelope amount by holding the voice knob and then turning the cutoff, because those two really coincide together. You know, if I wanted that filter to sweep from that high frequency, we're gonna add some resonance to add some emphasis, because on older synths, analog synths, you know, a lot of times it's actually called emphasis, not resonance. Just a tip, you know. But you're really exaggerating that sweep now, versus with no resonance, doesn't it much smoother, right? Versus, so now, if I wanted that, you know, if I wanted, you know, you can do it that way. So that's pretty much the filter section of the POG3 explained, you know, essentially. When it's here, you can assign it to the expression pedal. Matter of fact, let me do that real quick. I can do that by holding the expression pedal here, go on the filter. Now I can manually do it with my foot. And I pretty much can set the heel frequency and the toe frequency separate as well. So if I wanted that toe frequency to go down lower, or say I didn't want the heel, I have the heel frequency going down lower. Say I wanted to bring that toe frequency down as well, so it's not so bright. You see, so you also have those options as well with these different filters, like the C4 Synth can do this as well, but you would have to use the little special cable that comes with it. It's pretty much this it's pretty much an auxiliary cable to a TRS cable. So, you know, if you have one of those, you can use this filter cutoff as an expression tied to the expression pedal. Same thing here. If I wanted to do it here, I would just, you know, assign it to go to the expression in the modifier section, and turn the source onto that, and make sure or, you know, turn the parameter onto that and leave the source on expression pedal rather. So, and the future impact, if you wanted to do this, you would assign the frequency cutoff to a flexi control, and then assign that flexi control to be controlled by an expression pedal, you know, essentially through MIDI. So all these pedals, like C4 Synth, the C4 Synth has MIDI as well, so you can actually control like frequency cutoff and things like that live, but you can do it right here on the pedal as well. And Enzo X and the POG3 also can be, and the future impact can be done via expression pedal. The way you would do that here, I guess I would need to take these same exact settings and just kind of morph between the two. Let me see if that's possible. Kind of use it like a wah pedal. Let me see what this one. Which one is this one? It should be this. Okay. All right. Take that off. Don't need that. And well, I'm gonna set it so it's a stagnant filter, and then I'm gonna set the low frequency with the heel and high frequency with the toe. So, bam, toe. Let's say we set the toe there. We're gonna put the resonance there. None of that. Try to match these envelopes. And bam, let's do that. And then for this one, we don't need that. We want the envelope about there. Actually, we don't want any envelope filter. We don't want any filter envelope amount, actually, for this. So no filter envelope there. None on this setting, hopefully. Let's go ahead and turn off that there. Turn off the envelope on both settings as well. Let's put this resonance up. So let's set the toe to there and set the heel to there. Let's see if we got this right here. We want this resonance about the same. Yeah. We can even set this one a little lower. Make sure we got all that down out there. All right. Yeah, get rid of that LFO. LFO still on there. There. And there. There we go. I love when a plan comes together. So I hope you guys understood what I just did there. I was kind of explaining it as I was doing it. But essentially, to get that setting where I'm able, let me go ahead and save that. I actually kind of like that. Save that right there. So right here, I essentially created an expression pedal setting that's controlling the filter cutoff only. Right, and I took out the actual envelope for the filter. So the way I did that was turn the envelope all the way down, and essentially I put the filter envelope amount to noon. Now I don't know if I need to do that. Maybe if I turn the envelope all the way off there. Let me check the manual real quick. I always keep my manuals on deck. Okay, so yes, when you turn the envelope knob all the way to the left, and it turns the envelope filter off. So you don't actually have to even, on this particular one, you don't even have to change the filter envelope amount. You just have to. Yeah. That's insane. So in this case, you know, I'm using my foot to sweep through the frequencies versus just, you know, letting the envelope do it or letting the LFO do it. So that's two different things, you know what I'm saying? I mean, three different things you can do with your MXR bass shift envelope filter. All I did there was I put all dry signal, right? Because if I take off. And let me see, so I'm gonna say that right there. And then I'm gonna make a little change. Always, once you like something, go ahead, save it. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the benefits of these pedals these days. You don't have to get stuck with that. And let me check something else about this MXR real quick. I want to see something about this filter envelope mount. Yeah, so okay, so on the MXR bass synth, I don't think that yeah, you don't have to turn off the filter envelope amount. You just have to turn off the filter. I mean, turn off the envelope knob here. So if you don't want to, if you wanted to set up like that filter wall setting like that, that's how you would do that. You know, I already told y'all all the this bass synth stuff for the MXR bass synth is going to be for the members only. But you guys are awesome. So, yeah, shout out to all the Patreon people and the YouTube members. Appreciate all of you taking the time to, you know, buy preset packs or subscribe, do the paid subscriptions for those platforms. Appreciate you guys. Shout out to y'all keeping the channel going. And if you want any of my preset packs for this stuff, none of these filter settings are in the preset packs. Yeah, none of these filter settings are in the preset packs for this stuff. This is stuff I just made like today. So, you know, I constantly do new stuff. And if you already have my Enzo X pack, make sure to message me on Patreon. And I'm more than likely, as soon as I release it, I'm going to go through the list of people that bought that and make sure that you guys get the updated version of new things that I added to the Enzo X pack, you know, updates. Pretty much I've found some new ways to really get things to another level with it. And I don't want you guys to have to use the old pack. And I got a whole new pack. So I'm going to give it to you for free if you already bought it. And if you haven't, when you buy it, I'll, you know, when you buy the new pack, I'll leave the old pack in there as well in case you want to cruise through those sounds as well. But, all right. But, yeah, that's a nice feature right there. Also, if I wanted to bring this frequency knob up here. See, for something like this, you'll want a little bit more resonance. And I don't want that bottom cutoff to be so far down. So you know, I try to make the best and find ways to use these different pedals more efficiently than just, you know, what their oscillators will allow them to do, because pedals like the MXR bass synth and the C4 synth, they actually have really good filters in them. And why should those, you know, just because I have some really awesome oscillators here and here doesn't mean that I don't want to use these filters and other effects throughout the board. So You know, that's something to always pay attention to. Everything is not just the oscillators, you know. Now, like I said, if you want the nice fat oscillators, you know, the fattest ones that I've just right off the back is going to be the Future Impact V4 and then the Enzo X. Both of those have some really fat sounds in them. Right? And let's get this going here. Just get some great bass synths out of all these pedals, not to mention still get polyphonic capabilities with the Enzo X. And I'm even getting drum sounds from these from Future Impact and Enzo X. And I've gotten a few drum sounds with I gotten kick and snare with the MXR bass synth as well. I probably could do something similar. Well, no, I can't because I don't have full enough control here. But yeah. Nice hi-hat sound. And all of this is filtering as well. Like a lot of that sound that you're hearing, that filter, the high pass filter is helping with that. You know, even with the snare. See, and the other thing I love, of course, I can just switch back and forth. Where we at? We 2 octaves down. That's why. So I even got a nice little lo-fi kick there going on. Give it a little bottom to it. So, you know, they're useful way beyond just bass synths, but in terms of getting fat bass synths, you want to get them out the Future Impact Enzo X for sure. And that's mostly due to they have the best filter sections out of all these pedals. They have the most flexible filter section. Well, actually the C4 Synth has the most diverse filter section, but you can't manipulate the filter as much as you would like because you don't have full ADSR control over the envelope of it. You know, you still get LFOs. You know, you can do some complex LFO stuff with the C4 Synth with your filters. And, of course, you can have it triggered by your envelope as well. Essentially a dynamic filter. And what else can you do with that filter? Oh, you can use it as a sequence filter as well. You know, they got a sequencer in there. Something else you can do with the Enzo X. You know, Enzo X also has a sequencer. So, and I'm trying to think, what else can you do with? Yeah, Enzo X actually allows you to do LFO filters, envelope filters, random filters, like basically when you attach it to the S&H, sample and hold, it's going to generate random numbers, and it's going to pretty much open the filter randomly based on random numbers. And then you have the actual sequencer in there. You have a 16-step sequencer in the Enzo X. So you got some nice stuff going on with these. Let's get these up to par here. So just really, I mean, we getting some crazy bass synths out of any of these. I mean, you can get some nice bass synth-esque type things out the POG3. You know, I only included the POG3 because we talk primarily about filters today. And a big part of the bass synths, any good bass synth, is going to be a great filtered section. So, of course, if you do have a pedal like the Future Impact Enzo X and you have a full ADSR, right? That stands for attack, decay, sustain, and release. So don't even worry. The release is the same thing. Well, we'll talk about all of them. Attack is the beginning of your sound. Do you want it to fade in or do you want it to immediately be straight on? And when we talking about with filters, if we got the filter opening, you know, in whatever case, say it's sweeping up, how long does it take to sweep up? You know, and in the amp envelope or the actual oscillator envelopes, those, it means how fast the sound fades in. So the amp envelope is the volume of the oscillator and manipulating that in different ways. Just like if you did dun versus wah, you know, it's two different things. One's doing it with the volume and one's doing it with the actual frequency. So actual frequency shape. So then you got decay. So once it gets to that attack time, if it's immediate attack, the filter will immediately open. And then based on how long you have that decay time set, the filter will start closing. And then the sustain part of that, the ADS, the sustain part, is where that filter or the sound will sit. So, you know, you can have a filter that goes ow or ow, you know, not changing pitch, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, I'm not a good singer. But you get what I'm saying. You can basically manipulate the sustain for the envelope of the sound. So if you didn't have a lot of sustain, the sound wouldn't sustain infinitely. If you had the sustain max out, the sound would just sustain infinitely at whatever volume you set that at. So you can even set the sustain time on the Enzo X. Something you can't set the sustain time on the Future Impact. It's pretty much whatever you note you're playing is that, but the volume of it you can change. Filter wise, is where when the filter is closing after the decay, where the filter ultimately sits until you let go of the note. Then when you let go of the note, if you have no release there, the filter would just stop. But if you have additional like release on the amp envelope, it'll give you that bouncy sound like that. See how? So anything after I let this note go, you hear how it gives you like up front, it's loud, and then comes down. So the attack is instant, but then just a little bit of attack time on that. Some decay time, and then there's that frequency is sitting at now is the sustain part of the filter, and also the how long I'm holding it is the sustain part of that ADSR. Then when I let this go is the release time. So I hope that helps explain, then I get sounds like that, And you see that I didn't have any sustain time on that. Oh, I just changed it. Where was it? Mild bass. It's kind of like my mallet bass. Now, I will say the Enzo X is not necessarily reading the release when it's something they can fix with a firmware update. When I'm releasing notes, like this is the same sound. Right, this is the same sound, but I don't get any release. I get this attack, decay, and sustain, but I'm not getting that release part of the sound. Even without the So in order for me to do that, I gotta use the MIDI right now, but that's something they can definitely fix with a firmware update. And I might got a few little things I would like them to either consider or might potentially add to things. That's one of them, making sure that the release is still operating for the sound. Now, I will say out of all of them, I will say the Enzo X, I am the most comfortable performing with the tracking. Like, once I found out, or once I magically stumbled upon this magic set of numbers that allows me to get this perfect tracking, I really have had it was already one of the best tracking pedals on here, but it actually surpassed the other ones. Now, don't get me wrong. MXR bass synth got some dirty stuff with it. Gotta turn all these joints down. Make sure nothing else on. See what I'm saying? Like, you better off experimenting with the MXR bass synth. Expression pedal with it. That's me doing that same sound. You just do ridiculous stuff. Yeah. I just gotta get my timing right. Just even those sounds out a little bit. I don't even know if it's possible with that, because, you know, with simplicity comes less options, right? Which is part of the reason why you can't quite get it where you really, really want it to go. But you can, like I said, if you just approach the MXR bass synth like it's just a synth, just find sounds with it. You know, have a can-do attitude. Good. I would say all these joints, you gotta definitely work with that output gain. So you can get some. That is a you throw some different effects on that. say I wanted a little bit of chorus on that, you could definitely find your way to do that. Back one. You know, or, you know, you can, some flanger. Phaser. Little verb. So, you know, experimenting with combining different effects from the different synths with each other, you know, definitely makes for some interesting combinations. Say I take the oscillators, you know, you might even have favorite parts of each one. So if, say I like the fat oscillators from the Future Impact and I want to use the filter from the MXR bass synth and the phaser from the MXR pedal along with the compressor and all that stuff from the Mercury X. Got that joint on 10,000. Let's go here. Say I wanted to use the twin, I made like a twin filter setting in the Mercury X. This is actually a modulation in there, but I love the way it sounds. It sounds like the baseballs with an LFO. Add some ring modulator from the Enzo X. So it's a reason to have multiple of synth pedals. You know, it's not just to, you know, it's the same reason why you'll see synth players have a room full of keyboards. You know, each one of these synth pedals while, you know, all having their own distinct flavor, still are all bass synth, you know, and they all do sound different. Like the results I get from here doing things, and what this inspires me to do isn't the same as what this inspires me to do, isn't the same as this or this. You know what I'm saying? That's how I really look at pedals now. How does it inspire me? How useful is it? What are some other things that I didn't expect or additional benefits will it have to my pedal board? You know, like for instance, you know, having things that have MIDI allow me to be able to create presets and get to things very quickly, while anything that doesn't have MIDI, pretty much I have to, you know, change manually. You know, things luckily like this analog compressor always have the same settings. Tonex ones are digital, so all I got to do is change the preamps by pressing it like this, and I just press them together. If this is on the floor, my foot can press both of these. And this is just a looper on and off, and I have the other external foot switch for it on the floor, along with 10-foot switch for the Graviton M1 and a MIDI Captain, which is another 10-foot switches. So pretty much, I like to have everything on MIDI at this point, you know, which is not always possible, but at least the C4 synth does have full MIDI capabilities. I can change parameters, I can change presets and all that stuff. You know, I can't play it. I'm not gonna say full MIDI capabilities, because the Future Impact actually is the only one that has complete full MIDI capabilities, meaning I can output the same way it's tracking my bass. It'll output that signal through the MIDI and allow me to play other synths and other keyboards and things like that. So that's really cool. You know, it's still going to be monophonic, but that means it opens up. If I want to get something like one of those Behringer Moog clones, you know, those sound really good. If I want to get one, I can then play it with my bass through MIDI. You know, so that's a awesome thing. Plus, I can play it with a MIDI controller. Now, the Enzo X, I can play with a MIDI controller and my bass, but it does not transmit that MIDI data out of the MIDI output. So I can only play, you know, use MIDI in pretty much, and the MIDI out is used to transmit MIDI to other pedals, as well as edit the pedal, back up the pedal firmware updates, all that stuff. So actually the firmware updates, I believe, is through the USB on the Enzo X. But yeah, so the biggest things to look out for with these pedals is those extra little features, like, you know, how many filters isn't as important as the quality of them. I will say that, because I don't be using like these triple peaks and all this extra stuff. I use 2-pole and 4-pole low pass for the most part. I do have a 6-pole on here, but I rarely use that. So all these filters are pretty much 2-pole, 4-pole low pass filters, because they pretty much designed after the Moog filter. So, you know, definitely pay attention with your filter settings. Things like that filter envelope amount was something I really didn't understand at first. You know, because when stop moving everything. Stop moving everything. You notice when I show you how to build something, I always show you how to take everything off first and then just work from a certain point, like usually the broadest point. So like with a filter, a low pass filter, I'm gonna have the filter cut off all the way up. I'm going to have pretty much, if I have an ADSR, I'm just gonna have all sustain on that and just have the filter wide open so I can really hear what I'm doing with it, as well as have that filter envelope amount set to noon or set to 0 if you're using the Enzo X. And if you're using the MXR bass synth, just turn the envelope off. Like, just turn that all the way off. Turn the resonance all the way down. You know, now find where you want that frequency cutoff to sit, right? Once you do that, then you can start shaping the filter, you know, with the filter envelope amount. Now, it's not going to move at the moment. So what I would suggest then is going into your ADSR and adjusting your settings from there. Adjust your attack time, add some attack and decay time, bring that sustain down a little bit so you can hear the filter sweep, you know, things like that. And then start adding a little bit of resonance, things like, and that's how you ultimately start shaping your sound. Like, that filter is so important. That's why I'm even doing an entire 2 hours on it at the moment. It's because it's super important. So, what? Come on now. And then you could do stupid stuff like mix it in there, right? So I ain't gotta have it that extreme. That ring modulator really is one of my favorite. Is like one of my favorite effects, and the Enzo X is a prime example of what I was saying. It's literally replaced all my modulations, all my drive pedals, all my filter pedals. And that's the main. This is the main pedal that I use for filters and stuff. I'm just showing you different examples of qualities of filters, the way they sound, and, you know, they interact differently with the same oscillators. You know, it's hard to hear which oscillators are good, too, when you always got filters on them. You know what I'm saying? So, but the Enzo X just wiped out a bunch of pedals, and then the Mercury X came, which is this one, and just completely took out the rest of the like delays and reverbs and all that stuff. So these two pedals alone have taken out about $2,000-3,000 worth of pedals, as well as I believe this synth is worth a lot more. I believe this unit is worth it with just the effects and the fact that it has, and because it also has octavers and stuff too. So. And even when you're doing your octaver sounds and something like this, or the Future Impact, the filter is going to play a huge part. And I would even say on the MXR bass synth, I'll go there first. So if we go to the MXR bass synth. Why try to, you know, this is why I got rid of my octave pedals and stuff like that for the most part, except for the POG3, because the POG3 still, as good as that sound, this is the best octave down. This joint crazy. This joint, the Enzo X octave downs are actually amazing. But this one, because of the extra capabilities, is just insane. But that is a great octave down sound. Mind you, I'm not using none of the stock presets. These are all set presets I made myself. I don't believe in using stock presets like that. So this octave down sound is nice and big because I'm using that triangle wave on the bottom. Now, if you know anything about a triangle wave is going to give you a nice big fat bottom, subby, just sub work. And I ain't have to try to filter out but so many frequencies in there or harmonics because of the nature of a triangle wave. It's just a fat. So just nastiness. Because the filter, now if I change that filter setting, notice I'm using a static filter cutoff. There's no modulation to this filter. There's no LFO at all, no envelope. It's just a static filter cutoff. This is how another way to use a filter. You get rid of frequencies you don't want to be there. It's what's called a filter, filtering out. So even when you're creating your octave down settings with various pedals, same thing would go for the C4 synth. In there, you're going to want to put some filtering on the octave down to really give it that nice round brown sound or blue sound. And I equate the blue sound to the MXR poly blue. Personally, I actually love that octave down. It sounds amazing. But if we come over to the POG3, just foolishness. Just foolishness. Bring this volume down. Now, if I run that dry signal through there, you hear how much what is left. Right? So it's really dependent on your EQ of your bass as well. Like, if I want more lows, I boost the low end of my bass. If I want a little less. If I want more mids, less mids. So it's really not really that problem. Tracking at all is just not a problem with this thing, But yeah. So this is what you're dealing with here. Like multi-effects units are going, or these synth units and even the POG3 I would throw in there pretty much is almost a synth unit, because if I wanted to add some griminess to it, I could, right from the unit. It got some overdrive in there. tracking is impeccable, but you still get a nice big bottom on that. So where we at? Just nice bottom, but you gotta have that filter in the right place. If you got it in the wrong place, you ain't even hear that octave up. And the octave up has been in there the whole time. Only thing I moved was the filter. And the reason you didn't hear it is because of the filter. Having the filter set up properly allows you to do stuff like that, where I can sneak that in, and it will also help the sound cut through a little more, but you won't really even notice the octave up. So it definitely, for me, makes a difference. You know, for some people who like, if it's not going to cut through, then what's the point? Because for me, it adds a bit of definition to that sub frequency that's running there. All right. And you got the octave down on the Enzo X, which is amazing too. Here we go. Another one that's really dependent on your EQ. Right? I push more bass, push less bass. So even here, the filter makes a huge difference. Oh, that extra you don't need in there? And all I did there was just change the filter cutoff. You know what I'm saying? So it's not so bright. And if I wanted to add some resonance, I can also come over, add a little bit of movement if I wanted to the filter. So the filter is going to make a huge difference in in all of these sounds from all the different devices. Even coming over to the C4 synth. That's why, you know, I took the time to explain ADSR, LFOs, envelopes, sequencers. You know, sequence, if you have something like the C4 synth or the Enzo X, you got a full sequencer in those in there. So, and you can do, I'm trying to remember, I don't think it's no sequencer in the Future Impact, but you know, definitely in the future, in the C4 synth and the Enzo X, you got full sequencers that you can change the steps to whatever you would like them to be. You know, and make some amazing sounds. You also have an arpeggiator in the Enzo X. So these are nice, cool ways to create some stuff. And you got an arpeggiator in the C4 synth as well, I believe. There we go. is the harmonizer I was looking for. So a big part of this sound is the filter as well. So, you know, you take a sound like that, you can run it into anything. Give a little more volume on it. I wonder if I can use I wonder if I can use this to shift that a bit. See if it track this. Let's go. This might be one of those times. We can do kind of like a double harmony thing there. Let's do. So, yeah, you can really play around with things when you start to combine things and then mess around with filters and different things like that. So, yeah, don't be afraid to mix and match different things and try different things out. Definitely will, you know, especially with filters. That's one of the reasons why I like the Future Impact being the first synth pedal in the chain, because I like those mono synths right there. The Enzo X is where it is in the chain because I don't need to run it through any of these filters, like literally like ever. This is the best set of filters out of all of them, in my opinion. Now, then the Future Impact, then I would say I love the way the MXR bass synth sounds, just the one filter by itself, you know, but you can't get unbuffered sound. You can't use your unbuffered dry bypass sound, you know, dry sound. So I'm gonna have to give it to the C4s for the filters, you know what I'm saying? But I'll give the MXR bass synth, like that's a nice filter in there. You know, I just can't use it for just my dry sound. It doesn't allow me to have part of the dry mix or any of that stuff, so it's not as versatile. But my least favorite out of all of them is probably the one in the POG3. You know, it's grown on me a little bit at times where, let me see. But I almost wish I didn't have to go through this filter. But I can still get that. Maybe I'll just run that through the Synth filter. It's at 27. Right, so we can work with it. So, kind of getting there. I could definitely work with that a lot more. Loud, boy. Yo, this pedal is crazy. Like when you use them together, especially, it just. And it's just like they all just split into harmony too. That's the other little nice part. Got fours, you could do fifths. We need to do some freezing with that. And that's literally just the POG3 and the Mercury X. That's why I included the POG3 in this, even though it's not technically a synth pedal. You know, this is not a synth. This is not a synth channel. This is a bass channel in general. I do cover a lot of synth stuff for us bass players, and so we can have access to different sounds and different things too, and not just be stuck, you know, if we're composing or things like that, you know, having to use another instrument to get our express ourselves, or completely get our ideas out. You know, if I wanted to get to a keyboard choir sound, like I can do that there, get into almost like that Yellow Jackets territory with that. And just really get into that keyboard territory. That's straight up sounds like a keyboard. And I can even get glitches and stuff when I want. And come over to another patch. Let's go Cosmic. Mind you, this has taken minimum amount of pedals, right? That big expansive sound, all that pitch shifting, all the swirling, all the bit crushing, all the filtering, multiple filters, 2 pedals. Two. This 2026, this ain't, 1950 where you need to have. Back in the day, that sound would not have even been possible. The reverbs were nowhere near as good as this, let alone for them to be a multi-effects unit. The individual reverb effects, majority of reverb effects still aren't as good as the Mercury X. Only ones that I found that I really liked that much is this, some of the ones in Guitar Rig. Guitar Rig actually has some really amazing ambient effects, and modulations as well. All right, if I just kick this camera, let me make sure it's still straight. Oh, come on. Yep, but that would be the main thing, these days. These together, this is $650 just about. I actually got this for like $4 something used. That's it. Mercury X is $600, but just those 2 pedals allows you to get to that type of sound. Now let's talk about, so that's what, $1,000. You know, well, if you got a brand new about 1250, right? Let's call it 1250. The stuff that those two pedals can do is literally an entire pedal board's worth of stuff by themselves, compared to if you were to go and try to get all those individual effects, the modulation pedals, the chorus pedals, the flanger, the phaser, the this, the that. You would have spent a lot more, and you would still have less quality effects. There is nothing that's going to track better than electro harmonics and Maris. Electro harmonics and Maris have completely just destroyed the octave game. Like, they are the best two companies at it. You know, while electro harmonics is slightly edging it out on latency with the polyphonic mode, I mean, the stuff that the Enzo X can do is just ridiculous. I'm surprised Electro Harmonics hasn't come out with something a little bit more expansive on the synth side, you know, besides that Synth 9 and that other synth pedal they have. But see, stupid stuff. You could do a whole film score with just the POG3 and the Mercury X. Record that real quick. This is how I keep my ideas. That'll come in handy later. Just creating a little film scoring track. Scary movie stuff. So here you're going to you'd be surprised how hard stuff like this is to duplicate where you need it. Normally this be in the background like this in the movie. And, you know, you just be that's how they get you. So yeah, I like to keep little stuff like that around, and that's ideas I'll pull out later. I could just pull off the looper, you know, if I need it for something. I'm actually doing here is with the POG3 with that same warp function that I was showing you guys before. Well, I think I'm maybe in another video. I don't know if I showed you this time, but there's a warp function in there where you can have these, instead of having these fixed harmonies, you can have all of them shift to different things all at the same time, but you can't. The only problem is they all go in different directions or different, you know. So this one can be up to an octave, right? You know, this would be up, you know, this would be within a, they'll go from unison to that to I actually kind of like that. Let me see something. Let's go to something that moves a little bit faster with us. Something that connects that a little bit more. Let's go tape shift. A little faster. I don't like that. Let's try this room. No, I don't want too much. I might actually have to design a room for this. I actually like that. Tune it up real quick. Held it too long. and the Future Impact and the Enzo X are also tuners. So that's also bonus features. And the Enzo X and the Mercury X have a global noise gate that is always on if you have it on. So, I have it on the Enzo X, but not, and it also helps with the tracking. Yep. And the Future Impact, you access it by holding down just until this goes blank. This is also where you would do top tempo. If you was doing top tempo, you would just do it here. 4 taps. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then bam. Also with the Enzo X, you just would use these two, and it would go into tuner mode. Okay. All right. Just lock that in. What's going on, folks? Sorry, I got a little caught up there. Folks, appreciate y'all chiming in. Usual suspects, all y'all popping in. POG3, my man Jeremiah. Oh, you show up. Hope you don't have no more aliases on YouTube. What's going on, Super Villain? If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, like, and share. And Cash App, Super Chat, all that's open. examples of how valuable something like the Enzo X is. Enzo X is pretty much the majority of this track. Well, not the majority. The POG3 and the Mercury X did a lot. So you got the bass synth from the Enzo X. You got the drums from the Enzo X. You got the guitar parts from doing fourths and fifths stacked on the POG3 running into the Mercury X's octave sounds with delay and reverb, and amongst other effects. If you just listen to the ambient layers, and that sounds like keys and guitar stacked. So definitely Enzo X, the POG3, Mercury X, definitely all worth checking out. If you can only get 3 pedals off of this board, well, I would have to say you can survive with an Enzo X, a POG3, and a Mercury X. At least I could. If I only just this top row, and I pretty much can get the majority of sounds. Only thing I would add to that, I mean, we're excluding tone things like the compressors, because I got compressors, preamps, looper, things like that are different. I'm talking about in terms of things that actually really change your sound or effects. All I really need is that top row, POG3, Enzo X, and Mercury X. Future Impact is that seasoning, that extra seasoning. Say I wanted to use more of a vintage synth. Let's check out the Man in the Mirror bass. It is. So you can definitely get a lot done with just those. Really, those synth pedals can be all the extra effects you need, all the filters you need, as long as you know how to use them. A lot of them, you can create a ton of different filters with them. Like even the Future Impact, you can definitely use it as an envelope filter. You can use the full ADSR and as a LFO filter. You can also, come over if you're looking at something like the, let's go MXR bass synth. You got an envelope and filter and an envelope filter, just a regular old static low pass filter if you wanted to, or you can attach it to the LFO. C4 synth, you can have an envelope filter, LFO filter, or a sequence filter. You know what I'm saying? So all that stuff makes a huge difference. And then on the Electro Harmonics POG3, you can have a envelope filter or like a wah effect expression, assign it to the filter cutoff to the expression pedal. So, and then you have on the Enzo X pretty much all of that plus sample and hold, which is a random type thing. And you can assign the filter cutoff to the aftertouch or anything. You know what I'm saying? To the aftertouch of the keyboard, and then you really start creating some incredible stuff. So, you know, it just takes some time to get to know these pedals, to learn what it is they do and how they do it. You know, because it is slightly different. Me getting an envelope filter on here is going to be different than me getting one on here. It's different than me getting one on here, here, and here. You just have to know the principles behind it, like knowing what the resonance does, know what the cutoff does, the filter envelope amount, as well as knowing what the attack, decay, sustain, and release of the ADSR do, each individual aspect of it. And, you know what an LFO is and what it's doing. You know what I'm saying? I ain't even going to tell you because I want y'all to go look it up. I was about to give it to you. But look up what an LFO is. Look up what a sampling hold is. Look up what a sequencer is. You know, these are things that you can just look up. Envelopes, you know, amp envelope versus filter envelope. You know, and so, but of course, I just spent the last, 3 hours going through filters and different sounds that are all filtered in various ways. So that's how I get to a lot of different sounds, is mainly through the filtering of stuff, filtering out certain frequencies, or adding emphasis on certain frequencies, or sweeping certain frequencies of different things, whether it be oscillators or my bass or the octaver, whatever it may be. The filter is pretty much filters are going to be the thing that really shapes the sound. EQs are filters. So, you know, even when you're EQing something, you're filtering something out or adding some more or boosting a certain frequency. So that's the same thing a filter does, like these type of filters, if, you know, except for they sweep. So instead of just boosting one frequency and staying there, we boost it, we emphasize it, and we sweep it, and that's called a filter. So, you know, if you can understand those qualities and principles, I think you'll have a great time with any of these pedals, whether it be the C4 synth, MXR bass synth, Future Impact, POG3, Enzo X, Mercury X. You'll fall in love with all of them for different reasons. This is even, just so you know, what I got on before. Oh, gotta turn it on. Ooh, wee. So it really is how clean you're playing. Somewhat. It is not like those octave jumps. Compared to, let's move to a quicker one. The heck? Here we go. Boom, boom, boom. Get my sound right for this one. sound right. Sorry, guys. It's not the pedal. I don't have it set up for this tracking. C4 Synth has the, like I said, you have to do the most to get that one to track well. You know, so those little small octave jumps, all of them slightly struggle with. That don't really struggle with that type of stuff is the POG3 and the Enzo X. Give you an example. Give you something a little bit faster. Some of it is the right sounds. Certain sounds have quicker movement to them. What sounds? Dang. See, it's not really that it's not tracking it, it's that the sound has to develop. This is the hardest thing. So some of it really is playing with the sound. You know, different sounds have different speed, you know, they take different amount of time to develop. Bass sounds need a second to develop slightly, especially with the tracking too, you know. But if we switch over to this down just slightly. So it's like a delicate balance you gotta find when you really want that super fast tracking, but it's definitely possible with these pedals for sure. Make sure I didn't just kick that out the way. Oh, sorry guys. Bam. If you haven't already, hit that like button for me. I definitely appreciate you stopping by, hanging out, chilling with me. So, yeah, the main difference I would find. Let me go to a solo sound on the Enzo X. Come on now. That is a great synth sound. Like the Enzo X is literally the only pedal, like I said, I can get all these, I mean, you can get a lot of these sounds or close to them with a Future Impact, right? Because it is a full featured vintage style synth. Like when I mean full featured, I mean full featured. But, the Enzo X has the ability to be polyphonic as well. So it's not only the ability to do that, do the solo sounds, but I also have the ability for my pads and various things. So I get to take advantage of that tracking. Get to take advantage. Exceptional tracking. Yeah, I could freeze that. And that's just the Enzo X and the Mercury X right there. You already got like a whole orchestral feel going on. Not to mention, you go 2 foot on them, you're going crazy. Just ridiculous stuff. Say I wanted to work down bottom. Ridiculous. Come on. Like, what other synth pedal, what other pedal that you know of in general, any pedal that has ever existed that could do that was actually a pedal? Come on. No MIDI pickup, no nothing. Just your regular bass plug and play. Like, that is ridiculous. Not only that, still got access here. Look. Still got access. Same thing. Not to mention all that functionality, the sound quality of that you can create with the Enzo X is just insane. And a lot of that's due to that filter. And the excellent oscillators. So just absolutely beautiful textures. There's really, when you start really digging into these synth pedals these days, there really is like very few things that you won't be able to do with them. Now, you know, when you're on the lower end of them, and by lower end, I don't mean that as an insult to them, just, you know, things that aren't above $300, right? Bass synth pedals that are under $300, the MXR bass synth definitely wins that, like hands down. Under $300, MXR bass synth. But guess what? The Future Impact is $350. I'm just saying. Future Impact is $350 and the MXR is $289. So, you know, with the additional functionality of key bass and, you know, the ability to play with a keyboard rather, and being able to play your bass and have it output to other synths. On top of that, top of the line oscillator, you know, authentic sounding oscillators with 3 waveforms that you can mix and match on each oscillator. What? Which make your own custom ones. You can get oscillation sync on there. You can do pulse width modulation on there. You can do that with the Enzo X as well. You can, and the C4 synth, but C4 synth tracking isn't as good as these other ones we're talking about. But yeah, so, you know, you really gotta take it, you know, if you're a collector, just get both of them. I mean, you won't be disappointed, but I guarantee if you know how to use the Future Impact for the extra $60, it's definitely, it's not even a choice. If you only gotta get one and you got that extra 60, or you can wait a few days and get that extra 60, I would recommend it. But in terms of the Enzo X, if you just want something that's going to cover everything, including your effects needs, you know what I'm saying? The future impact, the Maris Enzo X is going to be that thing that's going to allow you to do that. It's going to give you octavers. It's going to give you distortion, overdrive, some of the best chorus, flanger, phaser, best filter, the best filters out of the bunch, in my opinion. I do love the Future Impacts filter section, but like I said, the Enzo X wins it for me. So filter wise, and functionality wise, yep. So yeah, take that as you will. Learn the different parts of your filters and explore these synth pedals and use them as multi-effects pedals. But Enzo X definitely is the best out the bunch when it comes to flexibility and sound quality when it's in that filter. Next is the Future Impact, and that's just me rating them. But all right, guys, that's all I'm gonna do for now. I definitely appreciate y'all hanging with me on the different platforms: YouTube, Instagram, Twitch, TikTok, Facebook, all that good stuff. So make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe and share. Check out my Patreon for my preset packs for the C4 Synth, Future Impact V4, Enzo X, the Mercury X, as well as things like the Zoom MS60B Plus and MS70 CDR Plus and Zoom B6. All those different pedals and preset packs, all the different preset packs are on the Patreon. So check that out. And if you want to support the channel for $1 to $5 every month, you can do that on the Patreon as well. Feel free to hit that super chat, cash app, and if you feel up to it, make sure you come back and check out all these shorts and different things if you don't necessarily have time to watch the whole 3 hours. Trust and believe, it's all going to be out in shorts and clips of small, 5-minute clips, things like that. So don't worry if you missed the live stream, catch the replays.